Okay, welcome to Minding My Business, Women Across Continents, the podcast where Black and immigrant women entrepreneurs share their stories, strategies, and secrets to building thriving businesses and lasting legacies. My name is Didi Oku. You can call me Didi. I'll be your host. And together we'll journey through and across the African and European continents, learning how women like the guests that we have and the guests that I'm about to introduce you to, are breaking barriers and creating impact and shaping the future for entrepreneurship. So let's dive in because minding our business means building the future. I'd like us to welcome our guest, Miss Precious Woha. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Didi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'd just to start off a little icebreaker, if you could tell our listeners who you are, how you'd introduce yourself to a brand new person.
Okay. My name is Precious Woha. I am the founder of Jomivic Recruitment Agency, also the founder of Jomivic Travels and the Jomivic Group as a whole. I was a young, will I say, I've always been enthusiastic about getting things done. I love business. My first role in my job, I graduated from human anatomy and I got a job as a business development personnel.
Okay.
Then I started this job and I loved it. I love marketing. I love talking to people. I love, the creativity in it. Then that's how I started, working with small businesses and seeing it in my very eyes grow to become multinationals. For instance, there's a business we started as a microfinance. No, it was a bureau de change, right? And we named it as a bureau de change. And from a bureau de change, it grew into a microfinance bank. And as I'm talking to you today, that bank is a commercial bank. Wow. So seeing such things, and it started with nothing. I didn't have to have $1 million or million. We didn't have. Then my boss would like, think.
Yeah.
You can grow something like. So we started without a dime of any of these businesses, and I saw that it grew. So that's impacted my life so much when it came to business. So at the time in my life, I said it was time for me to step out there because to do my own thing. So the first business, and I told my boss, I guess what? She gave me, then in Africa, she gave me 1.5 million. To say, go rent an office, try it. Because when I told her I want to resign, she's like, okay, that's fine. And then I was going to help my husband set up his business. And she knew that if I was going to be there with him, I'm going to make it happen. So she was very supportive. At the time when I was moving out on my own, she said, go ahead. And that's how we started the travel business. And this travel business has been there for close to 10 years now.
Wow.
And still operational in Nigeria. Then moving to Ireland and relocating to Ireland, I saw myself doing things I thought I would love to do, like caring for people. And it was quite nice, but I knew there's so much more inside of me, I could do more.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the ideas of who I really am came up with the business part of things. So I thought of setting up a recruitment agency. That's when we started the Jomivic Recruitment Agency in Carrick-on-Shore in County Tipperary. And I started in a small office by myself without, of course, no finances. But of course, I still use the same strategy that I knew back that over the time. You don't need to have money. All you need to have is a customer, a client, and the business. So how did the idea even come? I came back from work one of these days and I saw a colleague who lives close to me, and a few of our friends were chatting, and I just dived into that chat and they were like, oh, I don't like this community, there are no jobs, so they started giving references of other people who doesn't have jobs, and I thought, oh my God, what can I do to help? So I started going to different companies to ask them, do you have someone who is looking, are you able to get into employ people? And a few companies I met told me, yes. And that's how I started putting them together into getting people into employment. And as a matter of fact, I had my first check ready before I opened my account. So I had a check. I didn't even have an account to pay it into.
Wow.
So, and that's how the business started. And yeah, that's a summary of who I am.
Wow. So the title, which again, listeners and viewers, you would have seen, but this podcast or this episode is called The Power of Purpose. So before we start, I just want, in your own words, what is purpose to you? How do you define purpose?
Okay, I would define purpose as the drive, that thing that makes you not to sleep at night. You know, the reason why you do what you do, it's your purpose. How are you, what are the things that make you think about making a change in life? So that, I think that's your purpose. And most of us are baited with this purpose, even with as a child. Remember your childish self who always think about something that wants to make a change. So as you grow into that woman or that man you want to become, diving into your purpose just makes a whole lot of difference. So that thing that makes you sleepless or makes you want to get out of your bed to move, to make a change.
So what is that for you personally? What's that driving force for you?
You know, I said it the other day in the meeting. I said it the other day in the meeting. I'm like, why? A lady in the meeting said, what do you want to do with all that? I told her I want to be a billionaire. And it's like, and the lady said, what do you want to do with all that money? Well, my purpose is actually I want to be very wealthy. Not because I wanted to wear all the designers' watch or dressing and all of that. I just want to make an impact, and I know the power of money. Money is a tool. It's something that could make your voice be heard in a place in rooms where you've never entered, communities where you've never got into. So for me, making a change means having the financial capacity to change a community. To see those young girls who require to go to school, who are, they don't have a means of going to school, and getting them into school, getting them into college. So when I say I want to be a billionaire, it's not as if I want to, buy, it's not for the vain things. It's for me to make real impact in the lives of people.
So I'd like to now pivot to purpose, but in business decisions. So how does this purpose, this really, really big, grand purpose that you've said you have, or that is, would you say it's bestowed on you, or something you bestow on yourself?
On myself.
Okay. So how does that influence the decisions that you make in your business?
Okay. So you know that, as I said, my purpose is actually to make an impact. So the business I chose to do is actually the one who directly makes an impact in the life of people, recruitment. In fact, a few days ago, I was talking to one of the politicians within my area, and I told him, you see, my business has turned from trying to putting people to work to become a guidance counselor in terms of people, because we have people who do not understand what they want to do with their lives. They need career guide, they need clarity. So I am delighted to say that my business at this time is actually making those impacts, helping people to discover their purpose, and that's now resonates to who I am. Making that impact, also generating resources from that. So that's what I would say. That.
So when challenges arise, how do you keep going? How do you keep pushing past that?
There's of course I need to know that I'm a Christian and I read the Bible a lot. When Moses was told to go and get the children children of Israel into the promised land, he did not know
that's true. No,
all the things that he was going to encounter on the path. When I told myself I want to be a billionaire, I did not know. When that desire for me to start a business came up here, and wanted to help people get into employment, I did not know what I'm about to get into. So there are loads of challenges that will make you want to wake up in the morning and say, in fact, I asked myself, who sent you? A lot of times I ask myself those questions. Who sent you? How did you get here? Especially when we had to move in from this office I was using. I was in a small office, and I opened up a a bigger office on a main street where everybody is seeing you, everybody is calling your phone, everybody wants to know your body language, everybody wants to know who picked up that call, the way they spoke, those people. So you are in that kind of situation. And I have asked myself several times, how did I get here? Why did I even start this? But you know why? Anytime I ask myself that question, I have maybe 10 answers, reasons to say you got this for these reasons.
Yeah.
So it's been very challenging, but I can tell you it's totally worth it.
There's more pros than cons.
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that there's more pros and cons, and mindful that our viewers are, potential business people themselves, in all business spheres there's more pros than cons? Or, because the pros are just so fulfilling, let's just leave the cons aside?
Exactly. So because the pros are more fulfilling, the cons is one of the things you just have to okay. Somebody sent me a diagram few months ago to show the life of a businessman, and really I can resonate with that background. Said you wake up in the morning and you're today we are making it. Then that same day you're like, who sent me? Then the next minute, I'm better now. Then the next morning, the next time you're hearing, my account is 0. How did I get here? Then the next minute, so it's always up, and you're just everywhere like that. But you see, the pros, the purpose should be the driving force all the time. And if you look at where you're going to and where you're coming from, you know that you are in the right path.
Wow. Yeah. I'm no business owner, but I'm definitely going to take that on for my own purpose in this life.
Yeah.
And you've touched on community, and you mentioned it briefly, but how does your business, your business does connect directly to the community. So I just want you maybe just to pick that up, a bit more about your business's impact in your community.
Okay, as I said,
don't be humble here. you're head honcho.
Yeah. My business has really humbled me, really, because I started this business as a business, and right now, where tomorrow I have an event which I'm going to be talking to job seekers. I'm working with the government, Department of Social Protection in different aspects to go speak to job seekers. And in this speaking, I really don't get paid. But I have to do what I have to do because I have to create an impact. So it's a direct, it's direct into the community. I talk to the young people every day. It actually breaks my heart to know that a young person, they really don't have a vision. At 22, no vision. I don't know what I want to do in my life. And it's looking like it becomes like a ministry to me. But it's directly into the community. And I can say with all boldness that my community has been very helpful. My county Waterford, the Department of Social Protection, one of the days they called me off to come and do a job fair. When they were having a job fair, they gave us a stand to set up for the job fair. And I saw the department. If anybody goes to the department to say, we are looking for a job, they just bring the person, go meet Precious.
Wow.
So people were just coming to the stand to say, please meet Precious. They've been super supportive when it comes to the communities, the departments and the government agencies. It's been very supportive, and we know that it's helping us grow to where we're going to. But everything I do is community right now.
Yeah. So in purpose, what I'm hearing from what you've said is this. You haven't mentioned higher purpose, but this is definitely a higher purpose. You said ministry, because this is, it is.
Yeah.
I know you said it's a purpose you bestowed on yourself, but the more I'm listening, the more it sounds like this might have been the destiny path that you were, working, or to work in. Because it's a perfect segue to what I was going to ask next about the ways that women entrepreneurs can use business as a force for social change, like you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important that when we want to do a business, look at your inner man. In as much as you need the resources, look at your inner man. Look at that thing you love to do as a child, and that's what I even talk to my young people about when they come in to look for a job and they seem confused. I said, when you're a little child, what's that thing that just makes you, that you really want to do?
Yeah.
So that's also for us when we want to do a business, in as much as it's there for the finances. We may not see all the pictures. I didn't see this picture actually. I just know I wanted to put in people into employment, but I did not see the journey I'm going through and all the things that I have to go through. But let it be that thing that makes you say, even if I don't get these resources, but I have done something that's made an impact in someone's life. So it has to be based on your personality. So you can build a business that defines who you are, that cannot be separated from who you are. So because the journey is an Israelite journey. so that you won't lose yourself as a result of trying to do a business.
That's good.
So you have to always find yourself while you're trying to get your business going, and get your resources. You have to always make sure that it resonates with who you are.
So for someone who hasn't discovered their purpose, where should they start?
Well, they will have to start. Anyways, they will have to start with themselves. You have to do an inner search. You need to know that thing. I think we are all created to have it. Yeah, so we all have it. Some people read law because they want to defend someone. Some people read medicine because they want to take care of somebody. Some people read journalism because they want to tell the world a story. Yeah. So there is that thing, and you wanted to read law, but you didn't get into law, you read English. Or you wanted to read journalism, and you didn't get into journalism, you read something different. But remember, the reason why you wanted to do journalism was to get a message out there. So you have to now remember why you were not giving journalism. But remember, that your true self is still who you are. So you make sure that you find your purpose somehow, because we must all find it for us to have fulfillment in the life where we live today. If you don't, then...
So what daily or regular practices help you or helped you to align with your purpose?
I read a book recently it's called Atomic Habits. Those little things you do every day. There are some days it looks like I'm carrying the whole world on my head. Doing so many things at the same time. But after reading the book, I realized that it takes you one step at a time. So what I usually would do is, before I go to bed, I used to be so busy, then I can go to bed around 12, I'll just sleep off. Then I struggle to want to get up the next morning. So I became intentional to say, okay, I'm going to go to bed. Whatever happens, I'll be in my bed by 10:30 every day. So that would help me save a few hours in the morning. So I'll make sure I'm out of this bed by maybe 6:30 in the morning the next day. So it's just an intention. You have to, I just been intentional. So a day before the day, I have my plans of what I want to do the next day. So I put everything in. Of course, I have a lot of things I paste around my room and in the office, and paste it all there with all my do's for the next day. Then I know you must be in that meeting by 9 a.m. In fact, a few days ago, I went for a meeting for business owners, and that meeting was 6:45
a.m.
Yes, and it's in Kilkenny. I live in Waterford. I live in Carrick-on-Shaw. So that's the mindset of a business owner, that you have to do those very important things very early in the morning before you start your day, because the day is so active. The things you did not plan, the phone calls that you did not plan, and you cannot not pick their call, because you'll be sounded as rude or not being nice. So you have to pick up those phone calls. You have to do the things you have to do. So in the morning, I try to make sure that the most important tasks are being done that morning. So I make sure I have to be out of my bed at a certain time in the morning, so that the most important tasks must be done before 10 a.m.
The early bird gets the worm.
Yes.
So if your business is remembered for one thing, what would you want it to be?
Legacy. Yeah. I see it right now, and I know that even within where it is located at the moment as at today, because I see the people coming to the business and say, oh, We've never had anything like this in the community. We've never had anybody talk about to our children. Parents coming to with their children and say, sit down there, listen to them, let them tell you what they want to do with their career. So that business had come into that place to make, it started there, but it's going to make a change. And as the day go by, we are changing our way of doing things. Now, in fact, one of the lady who works with the social care came into the office, was on Thursday, and we started talking about how we have to go to secondary schools to tell them about getting jobs, preparing your CVs.
So job fairs in secondary school.
You know, I go to job fairs normally. Okay. We do job fairs, but I'm talking about going to schools to speak to the school leavers about how to prepare themselves, you know, for, you know, getting into employment and all of that. Yeah. So if we do that over time, we realize that we have saved a number of people in this generation. So that's what matters. So the business will be left for legacy. And I said, I like to be a billionaire. So if those two matches together,
then two birds, one stone. So in conclusion, this has been a lovely chat, and again, there's just never enough time in a day to be able to really pick your brain, because in you speaking, I realized I have heard about your journey. I heard it from my dad, and he was very impressed. This is maybe not years ago, but like earlier this year or something, and I was like, yeah, there's this lady in Carrick, and this, you know, we need this in the community. And I was like, oh, like, huh? One of us opening our, you know, like, wait, what? So you're an impressive person to my family anyway. Oh, really? So finally, what does minding my business, and in this context, minding your business, what is that to you? What does that mean, minding my business?
It means stay focused on your purpose. Just be too busy with your life that you don't need to explain to anyone. Your works explain for you. So minding your business is all we need in life in totality, all of us. If we can just all mind our business, we'll make a better world. We'll make a better world, because there's so much to do. There's so much monies to be made. There is so much impact to be made. There's so many things to be done on earth today. So you cannot afford not to mind your business. So, you know, minding your business, as the word says, is what it is, but it's common just with purpose. Staying focused on your purpose, and that's it.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on today's episode of Minding My Business, Women Across Continents. Again, I hope you feel inspired and empowered. And remember that you're not alone in this journey. If you love what you heard, please subscribe, rate, share this podcast with another phenomenal woman, and continue building your own business and legacy, and be inspired from wonderful speakers that we have, like Ms. Woha today. And again, we'd love to hear from you. Contact us, connect with us, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all of the social media. Remember, your story matters. And until next time, keep minding your business and building the future we all deserve.